Okay, hello Facebook and world. We're here in Castlebar today to discuss the issues that people have with the lockdown. My name's Liam, and personally I think that the lockdown is unnecessary, mainly due to the fact that Dolores Cahill, who has years of experience working with infectious diseases, has proven through statistical analysis that the lockdown hasn't stopped the virus, that the virus has followed its natural course, and that at this stage, as even Houlihan has admitted, is basically extinguished. So there's no need for the lockdown, and we should reopen society and get back to normal, just normal. So does anyone else want to say something?
Yeah, sure. My name is Darren. I'm here today with my family. My main concern today will be just the effect of the lockdown on the kids in this country. I would have a lot of worries about what it will take for them to go back to school. Catherine Sapone's take on the creches and having kids isolated in pods. I don't think that's fair on children. I don't think it's fair on their mental health, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah. Anyone else want to say something there now? Yeah.
I just want to follow up on what you just said, because I think it's what the kids really. I don't have kids yet, but I will have them in the future, and we completely forget about what this does. The signal it sends out to them. It's all about fear and being afraid coming near your friends, your family, but also the whole lockdown as such is based on false stats. We all know that. So the reason we're still doing it, there's no no reason why we should be doing it, because everything was based on a fake computer model which never showed anything has happened like they were calculating. So therefore there's no excuse why we couldn't be reopened again. And we really have to think of the kids. I think kids are the main thing, and that's what I want to leave.
True. And just also on that, the Swiss have proven in 3 different lab studies that children under 10 actually don't have the receptors for the COVID-19 to bond to. So, the Netherlands and a few other countries are taking that facts into account. Yet RT has actually literally joked about the issue. So
my grievance is mostly about the people that are actually quarantined, and the effect that are having on them, because people are turning to alcohol, drug abuse and all of this. And so when it's all over, they'll have many problems, and they'll make money for the drug company, let's put it like that. But it's sad. The fear is ruling people, and they don't realise that they are the divine creator and they're almighty, and start acting like an almighty being and stop running down that dark tunnel. Turn around and come out into the light. Okay?
And Danella?
Yeah. Don't hug your kids. Don't hug your family. This is the new normal. Obey. That's what they want from you. Don't do that.
Nice. Good stuff. Yeah. Good.
I'm here today because I really don't believe that it is the best option that has been chosen for the people, and there was no really a debate. Nobody really asked us for any consent. Everything was rushed. This is not how the things meant to happen. The orders just came from the World Health Organization, and nobody really questioned the integrity of that information. More and more evidence is coming out that the lockdown, for example, in many countries didn't really serve the best purpose, because like in Sweden and in Taiwan, in Korea, in which other country? Let me see. In Japan also, and in Belarus, the lockdown was not really implemented, and the amount of deaths that were attributed to COVID-19 were not as high as, for example, as in England. So the lockdown is really not a best approach, but it's making a big impact on the emotional sphere of people and distancing people from one another. And we should, of course, take care of the elderly, protect them, cocoon them, but let other people just do their, live, do their work and everything, and just. That's how I believe, and for children, of course.
Yeah, and as Dolores Cahill has also proven, you can build herd immunity. It's the way that we always stop viruses. So if we don't allow people to interact, then the virus will actually just stay hidden and mutate, and basically could cause more deaths come the winter. But if the strong, healthy 80% actually get it and get over it, then we all have herd immunity. And this can be proven through antibody testing that the government isn't going to do till next month, even though it's a really quick test. Only takes 1 pinprick of blood, as opposed to the CPR test, which is a DNA test, and that requires an invasive swab and is only 20% accurate, where blood testing is 80% accurate. So yeah.
My problem with the lockdown is that it's disproportionate to the actual danger that is here, and I'd ask the people to look up 2 terms. If you could look up disaster capitalism and shock therapy. And disaster capitalism is when a government implements radical measures that would not normally be accepted in a crisis. This is not a coincidence, where our rights are being taken away from us, and this is working for them. So we need to stand up and resist this.
My name is Karen, and I've come here today because I felt it was very important just to kind of mingle with the general public, just to disseminate some information. I very much believe, and have believed from the beginning, that the lockdown and the subsequent draconian legislation that came in later is completely way out of proportion to the actual risks involved. I mean, the coronavirus survival rate in Ireland is 99.957%. The mortality rate in the US is like 0.003 or 0.03. It's less than 1% anyway. But yet, powers that be think it's justified to actually stop an entire country, to nearly stop an entire planet, to not let children go to school, not let them interact. Social distancing is damaging to mental and emotional health. Point I'd really like to get across. And also I'm really concerned that there's been no open debate in this country, and that a lot of kind of opposing or different narratives haven't been allowed on.
Michael D. Higgins would have a lot to answer for in relation to the legislation in the first place. I do believe it's his responsibility, his only responsibility, and the way that it just came straight in without a council estate meeting or anything like that, there's questions to be answered.
And just on Michael D. Higgins, if you just don't mind, I recall actually him being on the Tommy Tiernan show back a few months ago, and I was really touched, pardon the pun, but I was really touched where his closing comment on the Tommy Tiernan show was, he actually stressed about the importance of human touch. How ironic that the very same man will actually not stand over and not block the draconian legislation that was being introduced here, that is completely making people petrified to even touch each other or look at each other in a civil way.
Can I say something? There's another observation that we could agree to implement very radical measures like lockdown if we will be dealing with Ebola. But this is not Ebola. We're dealing with actually a virus which is not as dangerous, and now there's a lot of data that is showing that. It's just that the people have been driven now into the fear state and don't know how to come out of it. Despite the fact that in many countries there's a lot of people that see through the situations, and there are rallies in many countries. And there are also rallies in the countries where actually economy is affected, the countries where people are actually now losing the means to sustain life, and they are becoming the starvation happening in a few countries, in South America also, and in India, of course, in many other places. So there is the economic also impact that cannot be forgotten, and that's people are going to reap the consequences later on in this country if they are not going to stop this lockdown now.
Sure, yeah.
To add to the point that Darren made earlier about the legislation, Michael J. Higgins failed the people in his refusal to have it referred to the Supreme Court, and also there was a lot of misreporting in the media about how Jim O'Doherty's and John Waters' case was handled. Essentially, it wasn't that their challenge was unsuccessful, it was that the court refused to even entertain the idea of even looking at the legislation. So we have also been not only failed by the President, but also the judicial system. So it brings into question the whole democratic system that we operate under, and how we can be our basic constitutional rights on very questionable so-called expertise.
Excellent, yeah. Cool. Sound, yeah.
Hi, my name is Patricia, and the reason I'm here is just to ask people to start to question and not to accept everything they're told, to do their own research. Whether it's right or wrong, let them make up their own mind, but do their own research.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Anyone there? Yeah.
I'm against the vaccines. Mandatory vaccination is basically murder because they've got no comeback. They're doing untested vaccines, and the whole thing is bringing in a draconian system. Basically, this will be the Fourth Reich if it's not stopped. Yeah. So yeah. I'm dead against it, and people have to ask the question, pro bono, who benefits from all of this? It's Bill Gates, because he's behind this pandemic. It was planned long ago. And if you check event 201, you'll see that this exercise was carried out 2 months before the pandemic started.
Event 201?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, very important, yeah. Anyone else there now? Yeah.
Thank you. Your rights are being infringed. People died long ago to get you those rights. You'll have to fight again if you lose those rights. Never forget that. And it wasn't too long ago. We only recently fought for our freedom, and we'll have to get it back again. There's consequences to those actions. Don't let them take our rights so easily.
Excellent. Do you want to say? No?
Thank you.
Deirdre?
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else want to add anything else?
Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery, only we ourselves can free our minds.
Exactly. I think they have intimidated half of us and bought off the other half. But the fools.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're going to be holding these demonstrations every Saturday until the government will at least debate Dolores publicly, so she can give her opposing perspective on the efficacy of the lockdowns. And we hope that others will join us and start your own demonstrations in your own towns. If we don't stand up and show that we know what's going on and that we're able to make up our own minds about our own safety, then the government will gladly take our power and do as governments always do, take more until you have no power left. So unless anyone else has say, I guess we'll call it.
Hey, Liam, do all the signs.
Yeah.
Do all the signs.
Yeah.
Close-ups on them, yeah.
Yeah. Sound. Yeah, and that was one thing as well with the inflated signs, the inflated figures. Obviously, lots of people were added to the death toll that only died with corona but didn't die of corona. All the models that they came out with were completely incorrect. And just a general mad load of facts there for you. Yeah, next week we'll have more scientific stuff as well. In the lockdown. Yeah, and of course as well, the economy isn't the most important thing, but people's lives are dependent on the economy, and if we totally rely on the banks to pay for all these excesses, the banks will demand more of our resources and more draconian restrictions on us as well. And they're megalomaniacs. Some of them have been billionaires for generations. They operate on a completely different mindset than your average person, and people need to realise that that they've spoken and written about some quite nefarious things, and they put them out there so that people can see them. And if you don't look, it doesn't mean that monster's not going to get you. But don't end on a positive note. It's been a good day. We're going to continue these assemblies. So yeah, just consider coming along the next time to either engage with us or to agree. It's the only way to bring about a better world. So excellent. So keep asking questions. Thanks for watching, and best of luck to all. Bye.